Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are doing amazing and you're having a good day or a good night in whichever part of the world you're at. So, in this particular podcast, we'll talk about life, okay, and how life without spontaneity is not worth living, okay? We've been conditioned, since birth to stick to a routine. Same old day after day after day. Routine feels safer and more familiar. Comes a baby and it teaches it what to expect, making the baby feel safer and more comfortable in its environment. Sure, it might work for a baby, but a human being is fluid and dynamic. We're not meant to be stagnant like a tree. We grow and prosper when we exit out of the unknown and familiar and do things that challenge us. Routine is great and definitely serves its purpose, but so does spontaneity. Routine is all about control, while spontaneity is all about letting go of control and freeing your spirit to go where it wishes to go. And letting go of control is what it truly means to be free. Because once we let go of control and let our spirit guide us, we will soon realize that where it will lead us will ultimately benefit us in more ways than we could ever imagine. Okay. So in this section, guys, we'll talk about the benefits of being spontaneous and how much you will gain, okay, by letting go. Like, for example, strengthening and building new and existing neural pathways in your brain, and as a result, becoming more intelligent, okay, growing happier and healthier, and finally, challenging yourself and growing as an individual, okay. Balance should be considered in anything, okay, that we do, and in balance we find peace and well-being. It's the universal law and the nature of things, and if we deviate from that law, then we'll quickly learn that something always ends up suffering, okay? So, first things first, right? How does being more spontaneous help you? Being spontaneous grows your brain, okay, making you smarter, okay? When you're exposed to new experience, your mental plasticity, rewiring, repairing, increases in a way that it doesn't when you stay in a circumscribed space and repeat the same behavior every day. I'm sorry about my mispronunciation of that word, okay? But that's not all, okay? When we operate on autopilot, we're like robots. Everything gets easier and more predictable, so we no longer have to use as much energy to think or even be conscious. We get bored and stagnant. Spontaneity changes all of that, making us feel alive and conscious of all of our surroundings again. Our brain and body are all about conserving energy, and getting into a familiar and conscious routine helps us save energy. I've heard of a tribe that used to move every time they grew unaware again. I myself tried that way of living at some point, and it was an experience that I will never forget. However, I believe that way of living isn't really sustainable, as some amount of routine and control in our life allows us to be a little more grounded. As souls, we were given a brain and intelligence, and like a muscle, we must train our brain in order to remain intelligent. When we do things that are outside our comfort zone, like traveling to new destinations or even taking different roads in our old town, we must learn to navigate a new environment, and this increases our intelligence and expands our consciousness. Not only that, but when we step outside of our comfort zone, we're usually more open to meeting new people and trying new things. Just look back at the time when you went traveling. You were on high alert, probably smiling without realizing it, in turn inviting a lot of people and new experiences into your life, right? So spontaneity will naturally make you kind of more friendly, happier, and in turn you'll attract the same into your reality, okay? Second, right? So spontaneity makes us happier. Trying and experiencing new and exciting things makes us happier. Our brain gets flooded with dopamine and endorphins, which are the happy hormones in our body when we try something that we enjoy or do something that makes us feel good. New experiences and doing things that are outside of the norm for us makes us aware and feel alive. And when we feel alive, we feel human. We feel like we're really living instead of merely existing. Spontaneity also helps us let go of control and move into the unknown. And when we let go, then we get a sense of a heavy weight being lifted. We feel free to just be like we were always meant to exist. After all, aren't we all human beings rather than the human doings that most of us have grown so accustomed to operating as? Letting go of trying to control every aspect of our lives not only frees us but lifts our spirits up. In a way, it helps us fly, or at least provides a feeling like we're flying. Spontaneity is like a good dance. The more control, the less beautiful the dancer dances. The less control, structure, and thought, and the more spontaneity, the better the dancer dances. Spontaneity is the art of letting go. And when we completely let go, we can finally experience complete freedom and happiness of the free fall. New and positive experiences uplift and emotionally recharge us. It's like food for our soul, and in order to be at our best, we need to always remember to fill that emotional tank through spontaneity and good experiences. I have to remind myself to be more spontaneous once in a while too. Just recently I started feeling a little stagnant, like my routine has gotten a little too predictable. I knew that I needed to shake things up a little. After all, it's up to us, right? Nobody is responsible but ourselves, so I decided to take me and my toddler outside and go to the beach. We walked where we don't typically walk, and I just followed my spirit. So as always, my spirit led me to the most beautiful location. As we were walking, the sight of a golden sunset slowly making its way down crept in and left us both mesmerized. Alertness met me again, and I couldn't help but smile. As I turned my head, I quickly saw the cutest little bulldog running towards us. He was adorable, and I started playing with him, my kid too. The owner was a girl around my age, perhaps a tad younger. I later discovered that she had recently broken up with her boyfriend. She was a wise girl, and we decided that we wanted to take a walk together. Let's just say my spontaneity and spirit led me to someone that I needed, a new acquaintance and a very fulfilling conversation. We ended up spending a long time together and eventually went out for tea. When we're spontaneous, we're more aware, and when we're more aware, we're also more likely to talk to strangers, try new things, and take in what we're seeing, which is always changing, always different, even in the same location. And the third point, guys, right? The spontaneity helps us grow as individuals. When we're spontaneous, we grow as individuals. New experiences and people make us learn new things and we start envisioning life from a different perspective. The old ways start dissolving and we begin to view situations, people, and life in a completely different light. It's one thing to read about something, but I've learned that it's something entirely different to actually live through a particular situation or even meet a certain person and travel to a new country. We always imagine something to be very different and end up pleasantly surprised and even shocked when we experience something in reality. I've had this happen to me many times while I was traveling, and even when I've met a few celebrities. Illusion or fantasy is shattered, and I began to see something in a completely different way, which helped me form a much more accurate picture of my worldview. It helped me grow and understand and become even more compassionate. Now, I'm not saying that all that you will experience will always be positive, but your illusion will be shattered anyway, and that's a good thing. For example, when I was in Jerusalem, the holiest place on earth, or so I thought, I was sexually harassed several times, and one guy who was coming off as a rabbi tried to scam me out of my money. I learned that people are people, and where there are people, there will always be those that are learning and developing. There will always be people whose deeds don't yet reflect who they are on the inside, and even people who perhaps aren't capable or simply don't want to be decent. It doesn't matter where you are, and it's important to always keep that in mind. Growing through spontaneity can lead us to many different realizations and lessons learned. So how can you be more spontaneous today? Try these tips, okay? Bake a delicious cake, take a different road that you've never taken before. Enough of going around in circles. Talk to a stranger. Try playing a guitar or painting. Take up a completely wacky and whimsical hobby. Grow some fruits and veggies. Um, Try a completely different routine, good for your body and good for your soul. If you write a certain way, try something different, structured versus unstructured, or get a little more creative. Do some poetry maybe. Build in nature using sticks, pine cones, etc., and let your family or let your friends help. Eat something completely unique. Travel to a different country or a town if you can afford it, right? Become a mentor or offer your own services or something. Learn a new skill, okay? You can go to allison.com, by the way, for if you want to learn a new skill for free. Bring music, some awesome food, and eat at the beach today instead of at a restaurant or at home. Have a picnic, right? Anyway, so hence spontaneity is letting go of control and diving into the unknown. Okay, spontaneity not only makes us smarter, but also makes us happier and healthier. When we're spontaneous, we grow and develop faster and understand life just a little bit more. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please let me know your thoughts on this. And I really do love hearing from you guys. Okay, have a good evening. Have a good morning. I don't know where you're at. Really, thanks for listening, okay? And much love to you guys. Bye.